we have Jalisa, and of course, Yi. Yi is like my shadow, right? Yi, we're always together. So
I know. I
you're stuck with us.
I'm sick and tired of seeing me already. I'll be like, oh God, when is this person ever gonna get out from this place?
So I've been talking about this show for a while now, especially this coming episode, because I'm so
Yeah.
excited. I'm so psyched up because Yi and I are educators and we work with young people every single day. Yeah, even during COVID, we work with them online,
Mm, mm,
and
mm.
it's so refreshing to see young people who are really making a difference long before they graduate. They understand the urgency and they're doing so much of amazing things, And I've met three of them, some online, some offline, and I had such interesting insights into what they do. And I thought, hey, why not we bring them here so you guys can have an insight and, let's dig some secrets from them and see what they have to give us, right? So we can kickstart. I mean, not we, I'm really old, but the rest of you can kind of kickstart. We can maybe get some reset button. I don't know, there's a button.
It's never too late. It's never too late. I would say, as long as you're alive, it's never too late to learn new tricks. Okay, it's never too late to teach old dogs new tricks.
Okay, so just to kind of get a sense of Patrick, Husna, and Jalisa, right? So instead of starting with that basic introduction, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a series of sentences I want them to finish. And they can either take a piece of paper with a marker pen to actually write down maybe the key point and then explain to us after they've shown to us. Please, guys, take a while to show it to us and closer to the screen so we can actually see it. All right. So I'm going to start off now. Are y'all ready?
Yeah, we are.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm ready.
bring it on.
Okay. First one. When competition is fierce, what do? I do what?
When what?
When competition is fierce.
Okay.
And competition is fierce.
Fierce, like rah. I would make the lion sound. Excuse me, I have a 2-year-old, so you have to make lion sounds with action. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of writing. Patrick is writing a lot.
Don't write an essay.
Just realized that my pen don't have ink. Yeah, so I took another one.
We'll give you time to go and find a pen if you need to.
Okay, yeah, I'm done.
Okay, ready? Jalisa, Patrick, Husna, can you show us?
Yes.
Okay, so we have Jalisa says smile. Husna says be ahead of the
Cool
game.
down.
Patrick, I can't see. Please cool down.
Be confident.
Ooh, we got cool cats here.
Wow. Wow.
Amazing. Guys, be ahead of the game. Smile. Be cool and confident. I need to write this down, man. Where's my book?
It sounds like catchphrase, isn't it? Be cool and confident.
To give an explanation to why we say what we say.
Yes. Coming to that. All right. So let's start off with smile. Jalisa, why smile when competition is fierce?
As you should smile your way because what's yours is always yours.
Oh.
It's always going to be that. No matter what the competition is, it may be a tough one. What's meant for you, no one can take it. So you should always smile.
Oh.
I love that. That's really amazing.
I thought the concept was, my parents used to tell me that, when you're facing challenges of if, there's a conflict happening, you should always smile because nobody will beat up a smiling face. That's what he says.
That's also a very nice way to put it. But the other thing behind it is as much as competition may be healthy, as much as it may be tough for every one of us, if it's yours, there's no way someone else can snatch it. Maybe not overnight that you may win, but your day would come. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Are y'all sure you guys are in your 20s? You need to check that. Okay. Let's go on with Husna. We'll let Patrick go last, yeah?
Okay. So
First round.
for me, be ahead of the game is because when the competition is fierce, it's very important to be focused and you need to make sure that you are ahead of the game. Be the best, beat the rest, man. You need to get it, so you need to get it. Work for it. Yeah.
You have to prepare beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Prepare.
Not a lot of Tony Robbins kind of. aura kind of going on here. Okay, Patrick, cool as a cucumber.
Okay. The reason
Cool
I'm
and
writing,
confident.
I was writing be confident is because I used to be a person who actually lack of confidence. So meaning that in every competition or any presentation, right, I will be very nervous. So including the live session. So I used to be very nervous. So I always tell myself I need to be confident. I need to let people know that I can do it. So that's why I always ask myself to calm down before the session. Then I will try to be confident.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the reason I always ask myself to be confident. I can do it.
Would never have known, Patrick.
Yeah, I would never known as well.
Would never have known. You,
Yeah, I
you
wouldn't
hide
know
it
as
very
well.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Never have known.
You're doing it very well. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I was quite nervous just now as well. Right?
Yeah, you see all these people, right?
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Next one. Are you all ready?
Yes.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
make sense.
sure.
Yeah, ready.
Okay. So the next one is I am an asset because
Oh
I am
wow.
an asset because
Wow.
can expect a teacher to give them questions, right?
It's okay. Two of them actually just graduated. I think they still have that feel of, going to classes. So I guess they're fine with it.
My God, it's like on the spot quiz.
Yeah.
You know, like you watch all these game shows on TV, right? Adakah anda sedia?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, my Malay is very rusty. Ashwina says the nervousness could not be seen at all. Patrick, you see, told you.
Actually, I'm quite nervous as well, right? Just I need to I need to cover my
You are the only
nervousness.
hero here,
Really
Patrick.
fun.
You're the yeah.
You're the only thorn among the roses, you know. You guys
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Yep.
done? Ready to review?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, ready.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Let's see. Talent. What everyone has
Wait, can you
something
see?
to offer. I'm me.
All right. I am me. Everyone has something to offer and talent. All right. So, Patrick, tell us what do you mean by talent?
As you said, asset, right? So meaning that I'm actually something. So meaning I consider myself as a talent that I think I can do it. The same things applies here. Be confident. So because I'm confident that I'm a talent. So that's why I can be an asset for you or for an organization. Yeah.
I'm a talent.
Okay.
Oh, Anis is here. Hi, Anis. Okay, let's go to Husna.
Okay. So I think the word "I am me" here is not for me, but rather the idea of me, myself, and whomever that is. You yourself, whatever comes with you, either physically, emotionally, and spiritually, whatever comes with you, that what makes you an asset by itself. So yeah. Yeah.
You guys hear that, audience? I hope y'all are paying attention, right? So, me. There's awesome things about me, and that's why Ye and I, our series is called the Me series, the Me
series.
conference. We want to focus on the me, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. That's amazing, Husna. What about Jalisa?
Thank you.
All right. So I think to also take one step further with what Patrick had mentioned about talent, and Husna said it very nicely that you yourself, because you are being yourself, that makes you an asset. So I've always gone by this notion of everyone has something to offer. It could sometimes not look like an asset on the outside of things, but when you start working with an organization, when you start working with different people, as much as you may hire or you may have someone on the team who is not an asset, probably they are the opposite of it, but that gives you a good lesson as well. So I've always believed in everyone has something to offer, asset or not. And as for me, I want to believe I'm an asset, but also the beauty of things and how people actually go a lot further, is just the basis of that proper understanding that everyone really has something to offer. It could be a talent, whatever it is. So yeah, I don't want to argue on whether I'm an asset or not, because we make mistakes. We all do, Let's be
Agreed.
very in whatever that we start off with. There are times where when you walk into a brand new job, you're much more horrible than what you think of yourself in your mind, but you still
Yeah,
are offering something. So
that's true.
asset or not, that's for you to decide on how
Yeah.
you work on it. But yeah, I still, to finish that sentence, it is what it is. So yeah, this is what I can say.
It is what it is.
It is what
You
it
know what
is.
I find very interesting? I don't know about you guys, right? But do y'all see the? I mean, for those of us on the screen, the five of us, right? Can you
Yeah.
see how we are arranged? I don't know whether you all see the same pattern. I see Patrick in the middle, Husna
Yeah,
is
I'm
Yeah.
in the
below.
middle.
You see the same
Yeah.
pattern, right? So
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
for the audience, right?
Yes.
How they are placed, right, is like myself, and then Yee's on one side, Patrick is in the
Mm,
middle, and then the two girls at the bottom, Husna and Jalisa. And
mm,
it's like the three of them are connected, Patrick, Husna, and Jalisa.
mm-hmm.
It's like in a way they are connected. Why I'm
Yeah.
saying that, I know it's very weird, right? But communication patterns and connections. It's like even the answers that they're giving, it's like at the moment I'm like, these people had some backstage where they are kind of sharing their answers or something like that. How is it so
Maybe they
well?
WhatsApp each other the answer. That's why they know what to go off with the next one, right? To
No, but
continue with the next one, right?
the synergy is so amazing. It's like
Mm.
I don't know, like what they say, ESP, or I don't know what ASP, ESP. I don't know. When we were kids, they used to say that, right? It's like there's a synergy
There's a
between your
saying, great minds think alike.
yes,
Ah,
that has to be.
If you
Yeah,
think that the
probably.
three of us are connected, well, Yi and Cheryl, the both of you have a lot to offer as well. So
Of
it's
course.
basically coming from both directions,
yeah.
two different things, showering us with everything. So yeah, that's
Oh, amazing.
I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
about
true.
that, man. I do not know about that. I only see myself standing at the corner there, looking at
You know,
everyone here. That's it.
I won't be surprised, right? I won't be surprised in a few years from now. I will see these people are like motivational speakers somewhere, you know, and selling
Yeah,
out stadiums.
definitely.
I won't be surprised
They will
at
probably
all.
see
Wow.
that here. That, hey, I know this person. Hey, I think I know this person somewhere.
So we have Anis joining us as well that has said hi. Hi, Anis. Okay, next
Hi
one. Next one.
guys. Hi everyone.
Okay.
Okay, are you good
Yes.
to go? Okay, so breaking
Yep.
the mold to me means
sorry.
Sorry,
Breaking
can you
the
repeat again?
breaking
Breaking
the
the mold.
mold to me.
Mommy.
Breaking the mold. Shelton's gonna take over for a
um,
few minutes. I'll be right back. Yeah.
Breaking the mold to me means
means uh, um
it sounds like as if you guys are taking exam questions.
yeah, that's why.
Okay, I can see Husna is done.
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry, my pen is giving me a bit of an issue.
And Patrick, would you mind dropping another pen to Jalisa? That'll be interesting if you can pass it over to her.
This will be a magic show
Yeah,
then.
I know, right?
That'll be an interesting show from here. I'll be amazed by it as well. Okay,
Okay. Are
done,
we showing now?
done,
Okay.
done. Yeah, breaking
Yep.
the mold means. Let's see. Let's show. Yay! Breaking the mold to me means not dancing to anyone's rhythm.
Wait, can
Okay.
you guys see it?
Explore myself to the fullest. Okay. To break through. Wow. Wow. Husna, very deep lah. Yours one. Husna. Husna, can you please explain yours first? Because yours is very deep. Breaking the mold means to break through. What do you mean by that?
I mean that like in everything that we want to do, right? We always have fear. Even as I think as young people, we always have fear, and there's always something that as we grow older, we started to not believing ourselves 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Mm-hmm.
taking one step every day to break through. It could be a
Mm-hmm.
simple step. I always believe in growth, even 1% every day, because
Mm-hmm.
1% every day equals to 365% a year. So
Wow.
break through, go through
Mm-hmm.
it, and
Mm-hmm.
just you just have to go through it. Yeah, that'll be from me.
So you take little small steps in order to break through. So little small steps count. Ah, interesting. Okay. Jalisa, what about yours? What about yours?
All right. So breaking the mold for me is, of course, not dancing to anyone's rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the
Yep.
basis of it is who comes up with the mold? People. People that
Yeah,
we condition you to
yeah,
believe that's the
yeah,
mold.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the only way, I'll give you a quick example of why I wrote this sentence down is, whenever you graduate, whenever you come out, the usual thinking is always you need to start off with a 9 to 5 job, you're going to do this,
Mm,
there's nothing wrong with that. I would never ever say that, you have to lean towards a different understanding of things. It is what
mm,
it is. Right? But I think not dancing to anyone's rhythm and the fact that you don't just want to be another ordinary individual with a nine to
mm,
five
Yeah.
or doing exactly what the whole system, the whatever the mold, whatever the convention is. So
mm,
Yeah.
first step for that is always learn to be a bit firm and learn to have clarity because that too comes hand in hand very, very firmly. When you have clarity, you automatically become a person who's a lot more firm with your decisions, right? And that is
Yeah.
when you know you are not wanting to follow or dance according to anyone's rhythm because the first thing you're going to say once you are very sure of yourself is to hell with that move. Yeah.
mm. This is basically what they say, think out of the box. Then another person will
Yeah.
say, there's not supposed to be a box in the first place.
Yes.
That is not true. But
Mm.
the other problem also is that a lot of people go into that whole notion
Yeah,
without clarity.
yeah,
It's easy for you to wake
yeah,
up in the morning and say, I don't want to dance according to
Mm.
someone's rhythm. How firm are you?
yeah,
How much
yeah,
clarity do you have?
yeah.
Do you know what you're
Mm.
doing in the
So you
first
need to
place?
be clear with your pathway, then only you can
Yeah,
dance according to
that
your
comes
own rhythm,
together
right?
with not just confidence. It comes with experience. It comes with a lot of personal growth. Not too much of where you work, what you
Yeah.
do, how much you earn. It's an
That's
inner
true.
thing that comes
I
together.
agree with that.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, lastly, Patrick, yes,
Okay, let me explain my answer. My answer, I think,
yes.
is pretty related to both Husna and Jelisa, where I explore myself to the fullest. As in, the
Yes.
reason I wrote this is because everyone have their own talent hidden inside
Mm.
themselves,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you never know your talent until you explore it. Just like me,
Yeah.
I'm just an ordinary student which is just a middle student. I'm not a top student, top five, top 10. I'm not a top student, and
Mm,
I never expect that I can organize workshops for students to share my knowledge with them regarding the resume
mm,
writing.
mm,
And one day I explored it. So that is why the reason I wrote explore myself to the fullest. You never know.
mm,
You never know you have any hidden talents until
mm,
one day you explore it. Yeah, so
mm,
that is why I keep on motivating the young graduates to keep on exploring yourself. You never know, one day you will success in your own way.
mm. I think your answer is very, like you say, very connected with Husna's and
Yeah,
Jalisa's because
yeah,
you have to break through what you usually
Yeah.
do, as well
yeah,
as be
exactly.
clear about what
Yes.
your,
Yeah.
what is your direction. Then only you can actually
Yeah.
fully explore yourself
Yeah.
out there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Again,
We are
Cheryl,
still
it's always like, I, what is wrong with this three person? I don't know, maybe it's not
They
them
are
who's not
very
able
well
to do it.
connected.
Yeah,
They're very
right?
well connected.
I
Yeah.
guess I guess the questions was actually set clearly, pretty easy for us to connect each other.
Wow. It's like
And
the
y'all can't see each
29
other's
points, right?
answers until later on, right? But
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
To add
You
on,
just, you
Patrick,
just
I
have
think
to,
the
yeah.
fact that you said exploring all the way, it comes together, of
Mm.
course, with clarity, but at the same time, it's very nice to see how, as much as people are looking for jobs, as much as they're thinking about your pay packet, the fact that you want to explore, that's equally important. And for you to
Mm,
put that in place as a mole, very nicely said. I like how you
Yeah.
put it just now.
mm,
yeah,
I think that's a really great point, because I think a lot of young people out there, they always see you guys, you've already made it or you're already there doing it, and they don't see that part where the struggle or
Yeah.
like the whole iceberg, picture that you
That's
see.
true.
Nobody
That's
sees
mm.
all
true.
of that.
Tip of the
So
iceberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say it's important to remind people that hey, I didn't just reach here, there was a journey. And I think
Yeah.
people always forget about that exploration part and they
Yeah.
just want to reach the destination. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't work
Mm.
as easily as they think it does, like just one day they wake
Yeah.
up and you're on TV, one day you wake up and you're running workshops for students, all around Malaysia.
Yeah.
And you're working. The first
Yeah.
time I saw Husna, I was like, Husna showed put a picture of her doing a training somewhere. And I was like, this girl is in university and she's doing a training somewhere, I'm like, hello, so
This could
sometimes,
be a very lonely journey, to be honest.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe I
So
would like to add on something
Go
that
ahead,
yeah,
Patrick.
most of
yeah.
the students, I would say most of the students, not all students, it's like group according to their grades. So if you can see all the good students will be grouped together, and all the
yeah.
middle students will be grouped together, and you will see that the middle student will be like, oh, good students, you are so good, so I need to ask you about this, and you never see a good students to ask the middle group students, as in this is what
Yeah.
we usually see in the classes. So that's why I written explore myself to the fullest, because you never know. One day
Yep.
you might find out that, oh, your talent is actually something which is better than them, right?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I would say everyone is equal. It depends on how you explore yourself.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a very good point, which I think it
Mm,
kind of can. I kind of want to ask another questions with related to this area because, like you know, me and Cheryl, we are educators, so
Yeah.
we do know this whole issue about grouping, doing work together, and we ourselves know the importance of doing group together. There is a justification to it because you need to work well as a group. Even if you come out in work, in full corporate work, you need to work as a group. But the difficulty of them working within a group is actually, that's the struggle. So maybe it's something I need to ask you all, especially about your experience about working in a group. Is it really require is should do you prefer if we actually segregate you guys based on what we segregate in accordance to for you all the group, or do you prefer to actually go into your own group? Because Patrick says usually if you let them have the freedom to choose their own group, you will have the grade A students together, the average students together. So would you prefer to actually have us grade allocate the groups for you instead? What do you think?
Um,
okay. Yeah,
Zelisa,
go ahead. Good.
I think Zelisa
Yeah,
can go first.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
I would like to take that question first. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. 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 Sure.
yeah.
So
Go
I
ahead.
think when it comes to segregation, when it comes to
Yeah.
grouping, so I'll give you a very quick example. I still remember reading the book on Tony Fernandez biography. This was Tony
Mm,
Fernandez when he was a student. Okay, so he
mm,
was in London, and at the start of the book, he actually mentions how when a person is at that young age and they're actually trying to explore. So what happens is that the both of you, Cheryl as well as he, you are actually
mm,
educating students,
mm,
right? It's an understanding that you have a certain system that you actually have to
Yeah.
follow. So I don't think the onus should be on the educators to go and tell them you need to explore, you need to do this, you need, because look, as much as you are trying your level best to bring out the best part
mm,
of the students, a
mm,
system is a system, right?
mm,
And if at all, if they have the appreciation of different students of different fields, that's great.
mm,
That would be the thing. However, the onus has to be on the student themselves. So going
mm,
back to what Tony Fernandez actually spoke in his biography. So this is a quick scenario. I still remember this it's a very good, very strong message. If you actually think about it and read between the lines of how he spoke about him being a student in London, he said that there was a Malaysian society in London,
mm,
okay?
mm,
And they would
mm,
push him all the time, why don't you come and join us? Why don't you come and join us? And he said, why would I do that? I'm in a foreign country. I want to explore. I want to
mm,
meet people from different cultures, people from
yeah,
different walks. Why
yeah.
would I leave my country and mix with the same people I left? So I thought that was a very
Mm,
powerful thing. And
Yeah.
as
yeah.
you can see the effort from, I mean, I had the pleasure of really good lecturers. In fact, I didn't like all of them, but I had a few who was very, very passionate about your, characteristics,
Yeah.
mannerism, things which were not in the textbook. And they are the people which I still contact. And I think Cheryl, I got to know Cheryl through one of them, Miss Felicia. So this is the other part that comes with the job. However, the owner still goes back to the student. It's really what you as an individual, whatever you're given as a task you do, that's step one. The second task is for you to sit back, relax, and also understand that a lot of things happening outside the classroom for you. So
Mm,
I appreciate the fact that you even have that kind of a question. It just shows how much that you are very concerned
Yeah.
about how they
Yeah.
actually make needs. Right?
well,
Yeah.
But
it's a vicious cycle every semester anyway.
sorry.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle every semester, anyways.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah,
that was a very good, strong example because
yeah,
this is Tony Fernandez in a foreign country, right? And as
yeah.
much as I'm not saying this is the mold we have to follow, but strong, very strong point. That also goes
Mm,
back to how character is actually built. Yeah.
Yeah. It shows
mm.
that
So
you
it's a
care as a
readiness.
person.
Mm,
Yeah, I think for me on my end, if you were talking about grouping or work in a group, right? I would
yes.
prefer to have. I think it's very important because if you were as a lecturer, you were to group us
Yeah.
accordingly, and then
Yeah.
you have to remember that. For example, for me, I'm very familiar with the group of friends I have. So that means
Yes.
if I have a certain assignment to settle, I know
Mm,
that I can rely on this person instead of
mm,
I need to crack my head to worry about the attitude or the responsibility of this person to deliver. Yeah,
mm,
and for me
mm,
personally, during my university years, what has helped me a lot is three things: seniors, lecturers,
mm,
and good friends. So these
mm,
three group, we of course we have our very own preferences, but I think
mm,
having the group of friends that you are familiar with their work of ethics and how they we are synced. We have a group of
mm,
friends or lecturers that we don't have to say much, but just by looking at each other, we understand. Okay, this is what we need to do. Yeah,
mm.
so that would be the
Interesting.
way that I would approach it.
Mm.
How about you,
Patrick,
Patrick?
anything to add? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe let me add on some points that I think is quite important for the lecturers to know, right? Yeah. So
Okay.
if
Yes,
yeah,
I'm taking
so
note right now.
yeah, so there's no any systems or any format for lecturers to group students, regardless of you can
Mm,
group them according to the result, group them
mm,
according to their personality. But
mm,
if let's say let's say based on my opinion, right, I would
mm,
suggest, regardless how you group the students, with a good students in one group or even the mix of students in one group, make
mm,
sure that the lecturers can see their performance individually, as in,
mm.
we cannot decide our group mates. As a student, we cannot decide our group mates, but
Yeah.
I hope that lecturers or even the group leaders can see the efforts of the group members, as
Mm,
if, for example, if let's say there are five members in one group, and how
mm,
can you assure that five of them are actually equally contributed the effort, but not,
mm,
not just one. But usually
mm,
you can see, I'm not sure, do lecturers knows about this. Usually, if let's say there are two good students and another three, which is middle students, the two good students will actually take all the efforts. And
yeah.
yeah, so this is
We
what
can
I'm concerned
see,
about.
we can see, but the fact is, it's hard to, how do you say, justify, the points given that way, because it's a group work eventually, right? But I think I agree with what Jaleesa says as well, that no point us segregating or they themselves. I mean, it's the readiness of the students. I think that's very true. I mean, the readiness of the students' mindset, that are they ready to actually get out and mingle with other people or not? Because if they're
Yeah.
not prepared to, even though if I'm the one who set it out, makes no difference, right? I
Exactly.
think I
And
think that's important.
yeah,
Yeah.
am I allowed to add on to
Yes,
what
yes, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's not like a typical class, don't worry.
you're doing?
You don't need to raise your hand for this,
You're
okay?
asking permission for it. You know what I mean? Because there's times where I'm always the youngest on the bench of people that I'm speaking to. I have to always address it as, am I allowed
Can I?
to?
Oh,
So,
it's
I
okay.
think
It's okay. Yeah.
Patrick, is also good. It's a very good point that you came up with. But also,
Mm,
me back to what you ended it just
mm,
now with is, you see, as much as you're trying to prepare, university is a time where you're preparing the
yes.
students to do whatever they have to do.
Mm,
But at
mm,
the end of it, you go into the whole working life and all of that. Again, it goes back to how the individual actually wants to pick up all these things. Because
yes.
when you are in an office, when you are in an organization, you may hate the side of the person, but you are
Yeah.
involved. You have
Mm-hmm,
built.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
we all can actually say and agree on that. So as
Yeah.
much as university is you trying to prepare the best out of the students, but sometimes no choice is a good choice for them. You
No,
know?
because sometimes I mean that's like what to add on to what you said, Jalisa, that's what I usually tell my students if I'm the one who decide, who's the team. And when I decide, it's not like I pick according to A's plus B's, students and stuff like that. I just do it randomly. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what I do. So I guess some people hate it, some people like the kind
Okay.
of way. So that's the random way of picking. But the reason why I tell them that is because I say, well, eventually when you come out to work, you don't choose who you work with, correct? I mean, like I can't go into a company and say, hey, I don't like to see this person because
Correct.
this person is,
Exactly. And then some of them,
I
the
don't
sad,
want
yeah, the sad thing that comes with it is that because you naturally have the whole idea of being given options in
yeah,
university, because
yeah.
you are constantly going to fit in the box according to what you would want, and then when you get
yeah,
into the real world, you can't deal with it. Then that's when the whole thing, like stress,
yeah,
depression, because are
yeah,
overused. I'm not in any way saying that I'm disregarding people with depression. Everyone goes through anxiety and depression, but there are times
Yep.
where working together and understanding that everyone comes in with their own fair share of problems, that
yeah.
actually makes a person, an individual, a better individual as compared to you labeling yourself with things and self-diagnosing yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a very good point. Self-diagnosis. That's very good
Yeah,
point.
Very high
I'm so
EQ.
afraid if I made that messed up for this, but I'm being completely honest. I could sugarcoat it.
Yeah,
There are times you do it.
which we totally agree about that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm guilty of it as well because there are times where I rather pick up the phone and say, "Oh, I'm so depressed," as compared to doing something about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Agree,
That's
agree.
true.
So Ashwina Pari says, agreeing with Jalisa, as a student, even when our lecturer gives us the freedom to answer assignment questions, we tend to always go back asking what are the requirements or what they should do.
Yeah. I
I
think
think
too,
that
I think Patrick and Husna can relate to that. It's like every time when I give an assignment, right, the first question I ask, how many marks is this, miss? Do I get marks for this? And I said, okay, let's do
Well,
this.
I don't ask
Oh,
that.
do I get marks for that? Is it? I was like, come on, people.
They're nice
Yeah.
enough to ask you whether or
Yeah,
not they should do
that's
it.
true.
Like you never did it in the first place.
I'll be like, no marks, I
Like,
don't
no,
care.
you have to do this. I'm like, really? Thank you.
I started off with giving y'all those sentences, and of course, we've already gone into 30 minutes, the first 30 minutes just like that,
We're
right?
getting
And it's
Fast,
crazy.
my God.
It's
we
crazy.
need to move. We need to move to the next question already,
the,
Cheryl.
the reason the reason I started off with those sentences, right, that has
Yeah.
really kicked off, instead of asking you, can you all introduce yourself first, is because I want people to have an idea of who you guys are, right? And sometimes saying my
Wow.
name is Cheryl doesn't tell you that, but I think people just listening to you guys that 15 minutes when y'all were talking about your aspirations through the questions I asked you, sentences, right? People have an idea about what kind of person Patrick is, what kind of person Husna is, what kind of person Jalisa is. And then only we bring back to the fact or the facts of the matter of where does Patrick, what does Patrick do, where is Patrick from,
Yeah.
that kind of idea. Which brings me to the next question that Ashwina has also asked something that I've already prepared, right? So
Okay.
as you introduce yourselves, each of you, what I want y'all to think about is, right, as you introduce yourself, when was that moment, right, that aha moment when you realize that realization, right, that exact moment of realization that I'm not just a student, I need to get out, I need to do something, I need to wake up. And that's also the same question that Ashwina has actually brought up very, very nicely, that I will put it up on the screen in a short while. Yeah. So when was that moment, and give us a bit of an introduction, a short one, of what are you doing, where you're at right now, and then followed up with this aha moment. Yeah. Anyone want to start?
Patrick, you wanna go first?
Sure. So
Yeah.
let me start first, right? Okay. So I think these questions can relate to back to the Ashvina questions that she asked us now. That how did I explore my passion, right? Yeah, this question. So um, I explore my passion was just a coincidence where I think back in February that time when I was actually actively looking for resume writing services online. Where at that time I'm still not a coach, I'm still not a speaker. There, and then I tried to look it through LinkedIn, through Facebook, and so on. I found out that most of the workshop online was actually very costly. Where for a student, if for you to afford 50 ringgit, 70 ringgit, it's kind of expensive, right? So I had the idea, and I think back, what can I share my knowledge, because based on what I have learned through LinkedIn throughout these days, because I started LinkedIn 2017 that time, and I got the basic idea on how's the resume writing. So I started up with free service, and one day there was one student asked me, oh yeah, why don't you charge? I charge 5 ringgit. I started with 5 ringgit first, and then after a few days, or after a few weeks, and another person come on, why don't you charge higher? Because I think you actually cost more than that, more than 5 ringgit. So I raised it again to 20 ringgit, and I mean the most is 20 ringgit, because I understand that for a student to afford more than 20 ringgit is actually impossible. It's impossible for a student to afford that. So that is a reason that came to me, where I found the passions of sharing my knowledge regarding to resume writing. And up to today, I have hosted about 25 workshops during this MCO, with more than 2,000 participants.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Wow.
you're charging
That's a
20
lot.
bucks for that?
But the reason behind is actually not about profit. It's not about profit. It's to share knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah,
True.
So
Patrick,
that's
I
how
think you
Dr.
need to.
Resume started.
yeah.
Patrick, I think you need
It
to.
was just a coincidence. I
I
never
think you
planned
need
to
to
start
see my
anything.
resume. I think you need
Yeah,
to see
sure,
my resume. Then
sure. You can send
I'll
to
pay
me.
you 20 bucks for that.
Patrick, I'm gonna call you,
Charger
okay?
mode, charger mode.
Sure. No worries. So how about we go for anyone?
Who's
Patrick,
that?
you haven't told us enough,
You haven't.
Patrick. When you dive right into the question, I'm sure they are
Yeah.
wondering
Hmm.
like, who is this Patrick person? You know, where is he
Okay,
from? What is he doing?
okay,
You know, maybe just a bit of
okay.
a
So I think these questions will pretty relate to March, that time when I started my very first workshop. You know, I have no experience. I'm still a student. I'm still a final year student, final semester, some more, and I don't have qualifications. I'm not an expert in the industry. I'm not a coach as well. I started the first workshop in my university, and that time was actually very difficult, because no, you're not someone that people knows. And I organized one workshop on, I think, on a Saturday that time, and I tried to promote throughout the whole week. And guess what? The result was pretty, I would say, initially the result was quite bad, because no one wants to register. And I keep on promoting, I keep on sharing to my WhatsApp group, ask my friends to come. I even give them free tickets, in order to fill up the seats. I don't want the hall will be empty, to be too empty. So I asked my friends to
friends
come
are
for
the
free.
worst.
Yeah. So I was thinking, it was quite, the experience of starting up was quite difficult. So, and day by day and workshop by workshop, the I would say the word of mouth that helped me to spread the word throughout LinkedIn, and people share my posts, and I got more participants to join. And of course, I do actually, I one thing I think is very important to share, where I constantly take feedbacks from the participants, because I was a student, still a student, and I host this workshop. I want to ask their review, whether is it worth it for you, or do you learn something throughout the sessions. So that's why I keep on getting reviews from the students. Yeah. So
Wow,
Ah.
this
Patrick, you're starting young. Good for you. We have a comment.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, actually, I would like to thank my mentor. My mentor is actually Mr. Zamri from my university. He actually advised me
Mm,
to try to have all these kind of surveys, and try
mm,
to improve myself constantly. Yeah,
I think
So
mentors
just
are very important,
just
yeah,
definitely.
FYI for anyone who's curious about where Patrick is from, Patrick is actually in Penang right now. He just
yeah.
graduated like 2 months ago. 2 months ago, right? 2 months ago. So that
2 months
that
ago,
is the
May.
May. So that's the basic info for everyone. Just in case
Yeah,
Basic
if
connect
you're
me on
info.
LinkedIn.
wondering.
Connect me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, Cheryl will share his LinkedIn profile at the end of this. Okay, right. Who's next? Who's next?
Jelisa, maybe
Who's next?
you want to tell us, because I think there's a bit of a
Yes.
connect there. Talking about mentors, right? Maybe you want to
Oh,
start off with
Yeah.
telling us about yourself, and then your aha moment.
okay, yeah. So I come from a town in Ipoh. So when I
Mm-hmm.
came to KL, everything was foreign to me. If you asked me to take a LRT, buy a ticket, I would be lost. It was that bad. So it was literally just coming to a very new place. Everything was very different. Everything was very fast forward for me. And then I decided to pursue law because I was very much into public speaking and debates when I was younger. But what happened to me along the way was that I think everybody has a drive, that one thing that really, really at the back of your mind, even if you're sitting for an examination, even if, let's say, you are in a moment where you're studying for something, you need to understand why you're doing it. And it's natural for everyone. It doesn't, nothing to do with age, whether you're 17, you're 18, you know why you're doing it, right? And mine was always money. I know this may not
I
sound the
think that's
most,
common.
but the
Yeah.
only reason why I thought that law would be excellent is because I thought it's the lifestyle. Everyone buys into it. Oh, you're a lawyer. Let's do
Yeah.
this. Let's
Yeah.
suits 2.0. You're gonna be dressed well. You're gonna go to court.
Mm-mm.
And I that was the reason why I thought like any other person out there joining for any program would think. So when I first enrolled myself in, that was when I started realizing like, okay, I need to study. I need to do whatever I had to do. The aha moment came for me was when I started hosting for a very small channel under Tourism TV. I had 5 people on my team. I literally only had 5. I was also in charge of doing the script writing. I was doing everything, but it was just with 5 people. Today, yes, I work in a team of 20. We have got 25 people, sometimes up to 30. But the 5 people taught me the most for whatever that I've actually achieved. And that aha moment came about what was when I realized that, okay, along the way, when I was actually getting my degree done, I started working and I started paying for my own degree based on whatever jobs I was getting at that time. I was 20, I just finished my A levels. And that aha moment came about for me was when I realized that you may be excellent in your studies, you may be the top scorer, whatever not, but just remember there are people who are less educated than you that make more money than you. And that was when I realized that if you're good at something, you better, if you're good at something, there are 2 things you need to do. You better make sure you go all out and focus on it. And the other thing is that you have to at least be top and the best of the best. So I kind of felt that law was not going to be my arena. I would not be earning as much as I wanted to pursue it with whatever I had. So that aha moment, I may not sound like the most principled person, but it was always the money that I was thinking about at the back of my mind because I come from that sort of a background. My mom has always taught us to make sure that you have to self-sustain yourself. It doesn't matter what you do. If you have to make sure you educate yourself and study, you do it. You have 24 hours in a day. There's no excuse to it. So it started with that, and the aha moment came about. I think it was more of like me doing it, getting paid, and I was really genuinely happy. I would come back home really loving my job. And at the same time, I had enough money to spend on myself and to pay for my degree. And I never looked back because when I graduated, I did look at my law resume. It was empty. But when I looked at my media resume, it was filled with stuff that really made me smile. And I managed to pay for my degree on top of that. So
Wow.
that moment was that. But at the same time, a lot of people come up with a different ideology of, oh, you're in university, you have to be the top. Yes, you have to be because you are going to make sure that you sit for exams where you're not wasting your money on. But take a step back and also realize that when you are 40, when you're 50, is your resume a list of things that make you happy? You really need to understand that because it's not just about the degrees, it's not just about the titles. And I think Patrick
Yeah.
would definitely be about having the same thought of that because a lot of people come with the best certificates. Are you really good at the job? That's the second question. So that links up to how much you would earn as a whole. So for me, I think that moment was always I jumped right into the third thing to realize that yes, it's good money for me, and I'm enjoying it on top of that. So that's about it. That's how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah. Very impressive, actually. Yeah.
But you see, it's a bit sad sometimes because when I was actually in that whole process of it, it was very tough. And I say this from the bottom of my heart. It was so tough to
Yeah.
convince peers, my lecturers. I have a few of them that was never pleasant, never happy with me walking into class. Still don't like them, but that's fine for a different day. I still had the students that would think, oh, but you're not a good student because it was so hard to convince people that
Yeah.
girls can like books and shoes at the same time. And I was very well read. I still love my novels until today. Whatever you ask me about my books that I've actually read throughout my whole career, yes, I get my makeup done. I still color my hair in blonde, whatever the color I want. But at least you know for a fact that this is the point you need to make. It's completely okay for you to like 2 things at one time. I can't stand I completely, I say this with passion. I refuse to get into conversations with people that have got a way of pigeonholing how people should be with their jobs.
One track mindset.
I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah,
I
yeah,
refuse.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree to that as well because I feel that a lot of students have that thought as well to say that well that's how my progression in life would be. Coming in, study, get a degree, come out, get a
That's true.
job, and
Yeah.
then moving on. What's next? That kind of thing. So it's good to have you all here because you guys will set them a different mindset to think that it's never something that I should start after I graduate or I should start after this. It's never there's always a good starting point, especially if you have found the passion that you're going to, and sometimes the passion may not necessarily be what you're studying right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Husna, yeah, your aha
Yes.
moment.
First off, I
I
want
think
to say
yours
that
also starting very early as well. I know.
at first, I think I want to say that I resonate so much with what Jelisa shared just now. And for me, my aha moment is when I started my degree because I came from a mass communication background. So in University Technology Mara or UITM, mass comm students are somewhat seen to be like glamorous, famous, and our faculty is always looked as, oh, they always said in the industry UITM graduates from mass communication are top notch, so that has already set once I come in, right? So I just tell myself I need to be that among the top notch, and I wouldn't want to be just any other graduates.
Mm,
Yeah, so I
mm,
came in into the university wanting to get there, and a
mm,
lot of my focus during university years is to connect with the industry as early as possible.
mm.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
why a lot of times I always engage myself with external events, external trainings, even though I have to pay. I do pay hundreds of ringgits for trainings outside, though it may seem like, oh, it's nothing. I mean, like, why would I do that when I'm still studying and I can spend my money somewhere else? But I see the value because now I
Yeah.
have friends who's like head of communication somewhere here, somewhere there. It seems like
Mm.
okay, it's pretty normal, fine. If you're looking for a job, okay, fine. But to me, well, how many of us can say that we have such connection? To me, network is a net worth. As
Yeah.
Jelisa values, like her drive is money. For me, it's a human connection. It could be a
Mm,
personal or it could be the network that we have. Network is your net
mm,
worth. Of course,
mm.
when I make connection with people, it's more on the personal level, understanding and getting to know this person individually. But we can't run, right? I mean, like whomever that we met in our life, in a way or in any way, we can always like make connections and we get something out of it. Matter of fact, the company that I'm working with now, Monster Asia, I met them 2 years ago when I went for a conference.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
I met
Yeah.
them. I believe in what they are advocating for the young people out there. Okay, and then eventually I subscribed to their membership, and now I'm working for them. It's like working in your dream company, kind of. So yeah, I
Mm.
think it's very important. I think one point that I want to point out here is you cannot find your passion right there and then. It's a process. Work on what you know in hand first. Your first job will not be like a dream job that, oh, I knew this, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. No. By the time you reach
Yeah.
30 or 25, it's gonna change. You can ask Cheryl, you can ask even you can ask Jelisa and Patrick and also
But I
yeah.
wanted to be a singer when I was a child, so obviously
Yeah.
I'm not a singer, am I?
Yeah, so I think this point is very important. I want to highlight for the young people out there. Do not stress yourself so much. Oh, like I need to know my passion. I need to like work on it. The main point is once you decide to do something, give it a time for it to grow. Give it a time for you to
Mm.
understand. Oh, can I do this? Give it a time. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, however you want to put it, according to the resources that you have, according to the network that you have. Work on that. Focus on that, and then grow from there. Do your very best for that part. If it doesn't work, it's fine. It's experiences. There's nothing to
Yeah.
lose. It's not a failure. It's just another platform, or it's another way that you learn about life, and we
Mm.
are still young, and so don't worry about it, right? So yeah, and I was from
Yeah.
UiTM Salam, as I mentioned, and I supposed to be graduating last March, but since it's lockdown PKP, so I haven't graduated. I don't have a
Hey,
graduate
I heard
ceremony.
I heard that they probably will be doing online graduation. Maybe you'll be the first to experience online graduation. I think
Well,
there's
we'll
few
see.
institution who is doing that already, right?
Yeah,
I don't
Like
know.
yeah,
robot graduation, right? One of the universities are doing some robot
yeah,
graduation with your digital face.
yeah. Well, we don't know yet for your ITM. We'll see. But yeah, that'll be from me lah.
Yeah, but just to add on, Husna, actually networking
Yeah,
connections that you have, the connections that you have is actually equivalent to money as well, because people
If
that you
yeah,
people
of course.
know,
don't make money, it's that simple.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you
So
don't
it
know,
is
you're not going to be
equivalent.
making money.
Exactly. So it is
Yeah,
equivalence to money as well because even
yeah,
when I used to work last time, the people that I know, the reason why you have all these name cards that the people, the connection that you
yeah,
have is because it
mm,
is equivalence to money because these are your golden nuggets, it's like, I know this person who can help me
yeah,
in what way, to do in
yeah,
certain things. So these are
yeah.
actually very important.
I have
Providing.
another point to add. Sorry, if I
Mm-mm.
can.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
Yeah,
Ruth.
yeah.
yeah. Sorry, I heard Jelisa mention about having more than one passion. I
Ah,
think that is also true because
yeah.
at the same time I also doing the freelancing and moderating, emceeing and all sorts. And
Ah.
yeah, I'm also doing that. So I think do not limit yourself.
Mm,
I totally resonate with what you shared, Jelisa, to be honest. Yeah.
mm,
I just want to
mm.
share that I think a lot of young people sometimes they are just too scared to
Yeah.
to the to the non-securities because if you're working on your passion sometimes, right, you need to be smart and be strategic. Look at the resources,
Mm,
do a reality check. Okay, this is where I can get my money monthly income sustain, but at the same time you can still work on other passions that you have.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or do like Patrick. His income is
yeah,
his passion. Ah.
yeah, yes, that's another way.
Hitting two birds
Yeah.
with one stone, and then he's still studying as well while doing his resume writing. Hey, why not? Wow.
Yeah, maybe I want to add on to on networking. Networking,
Yeah.
I think is actually really important for a student, especially for the job seekers or your fresh graduate. As you know, now LinkedIn, right, is evolving. In Malaysian market, where I not to say only Malaysia, in the whole world, where a lot of people started to be active on LinkedIn, and some of my friends, they actually got opportunity through LinkedIn because of networking.
Mm,
LinkedIn, you can connect with people regardless of their position. You can connect
yeah.
with CEO, you can connect with the ministers as well. Yeah, right. Even the our current finance minister, he's actually using LinkedIn as well. You can connect
Yeah.
him on LinkedIn, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's actually a place that you can build your network, build your connections, and you get more people to know you through online platform. So I would advise those young graduates or university students to start LinkedIn. It's not too early or it's not too late for you to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look
You
on
guys heard
your
that?
look on the
You guys
other
heard
side.
that?
Look on the other side. Yeah. Miss
yeah, but
Cheryl is definitely one of the best example for that.
yeah, but
I've
also I
been
think this is
I've been
also
advocating about LinkedIn for a very long time, Patrick.
yeah.
So I hope if they don't hear me, they hear you, at least coming from someone their age group. Maybe they think this old lady doesn't know what she's talking about. You see?
But also, I think this is also quite an important side note. As much as yes, 100%, I believe networking really helps. You
Mm,
have got your LinkedIn, you have got a lot of different ways. But as for people who are still at that position where you are not fully, you're still a student, you're still very fresh with a lot of things. You
mm,
are going to meet a lot of characters along the way that I think
mm,
this one, maybe adults, I think people who have been around for a long time also would agree with me on this, Cheryl and Yi. Uh, Overselling is also a bit of a problem. It's a
Agree.
very
mm, mm,
important thing that people who are seeking to find themselves jobs, to go into new industries where they're afraid of,
mm,
they also need to understand this side note of overselling. A lot of people that you meet along the way tend to promise you things, and that sometimes,
mm,
as much as you think it was going to help you, it crushes you.
Yeah.
mm,
Don't
mm,
over
mm. So
promise.
I think looking for
As much as
yeah.
yes, I 100% agreeing with y'all on LinkedIn and how you actually put yourself out there, but reality of things are still going to be your efforts are the only thing that is going to take you further. You may be excellent at what you do. There are some people that don't allow you to be right where you want to be, and this is the
Mm,
reality. So
mm, mm.
overselling is a very, very. I wish when I was younger, when I first started, people told me that enough, because every single time
Wow.
I met someone, they would say, "Yeah, you should do this. You should do this. You should." That. I never did anything but sit down in my room and cry because promises, are promises, right?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
it's a very dangerous thing. As much as yes, a lot of networking is needed, but it takes a bit more of understanding sometimes. Even adults still face that. Cheryl, you would
Mm.
also agree with me on that, right?
I mean,
I think
you have to view who
yeah,
the right
you have
people
to
that you meet.
who
Yeah.
you're mixing with as well. You see,
Yes.
sometimes you network with everybody and anybody, and you're not careful about who you
Yep.
spend your time with. It's very important to spend your
Right?
time with.
Overselling, yeah. It's
Yep.
human nature. Sometimes it's a habit because of how we all are so driven and we all are into the same chase. We are all in this aquarium where we are all swimming in different directions. But a lot of people don't realize that, yeah, okay, I'm overselling myself, but in reality, they don't realize that when, especially when the younger generation, people who are in their 20s who are still in the process of discovering themselves, can be very detrimental. I would always be a firm believer of that because if at all one person has gone through it, it's important for us to also educate people on what exactly is in store for them so that they don't go through that whole process of being, you know, disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
being genuine is very important when it comes to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
genuine and you know why you're in it, right? Like why are you there? What's your intention, right? And that is better for the long haul. So sometimes it's also looking at those elements. And I agree with what uh, all of you said when it comes to exploration, right? Exploring and in a way, you guys are very lucky because the generation you guys are currently in and the industry is okay with you guys exploring. You join here, you don't like it, you move. I did that 10 years ago when it was not cool. So I used to jump jobs few months. I don't like, I jump. I don't like, I jump. And 2 months, and I knew like I didn't like it. I was like, why waste my time here if I know I don't like it, right? Why waste time? And surprisingly, if you meet my high school friends or even university friends, nobody will peg me to be a lecturer. Never, ever. I was a rebel, right? But I fell into it accidentally, like how you guys kind of found your passion. That's how I found education, right? It was, I mean, I was forced, to be honest. My professor said, Cheryl, shut up, go for the interview. Don't tell me anything else. And I was like, okay, I respect him. I'll just shut up and go. And that's how I ended up there. And sometimes it's like Patrick said, right? It's a problem that you find that you have that problem yourself and you try to find a solution, and that's where you get that aha moment. Sometimes it's something that has been driven into you from young, right? Like, oh, I need this, I need to self-sustain myself. And sometimes it's that yearning within you, right? I
Yeah.
know I need this, I want to be out there, I want to get something, and you have that special thing. But this brings me to my next question, right?
Okay.
You guys are young. Okay, let's not deny that. You guys are young. You guys are really young. You're like
Cheryl.
so young compared to any of us. I mean, I like to say you're a few years younger than me, but the fact is I'm not going to reveal my age to my students who might be watching. So I'm not going to say how many years. But I'm sure, right? There has been time and time again people telling you these things. So you've heard it in one way or another. People saying, "Hey, Jalisa, don't you think you're a bit too young to be doing this?" Or even with Patrick, right? Patrick, you're doing resumes. I mean, how old are you, man? You're not even out of university. I mean, what makes you think you can do it? How many times have people come to you and or maybe friends, right, coming to Husna and saying, "Hey, Husna, why are you going for this conference? Like, what's your hurry, man? Like, can you chill and be a student?" And how do you deal with that? I mean, how do you deal with these kind of comments happening when you are trying to like move forward, you are trying to do this exploration, and you found certain things. How do you deal with all that? I mean, I'm sure a lot of young people, when they're trying to break out of that, being like everybody else, I'm sure there's going to be these to
Yeah.
begin with, these challenges. What do they do with that? I mean, how did you guys, what did y'all do? I mean, from your perspective.
Can I go first?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Husna, yes.
Okay. So on my end, to be honest, people always thought I am older than my age, so it's not really a problem. And personally, because yeah, people always tell me I'm older than my age. So yeah, so I fit in very quite okay lah. But talking about friends, I've never actually encountered such comments from people around me. Um, but of course, one thing that I faced was most of the time I'm a lone ranger. because not a lot of people are wanting to, explore and go out of their comfort zone. But I think for young people, for me, what makes me go out of the way is really to know that this is important for me. And I have a very strong support system from my family telling me that, Husna, you can do this and you are good. So I want to explore more of that instead of focusing on what people has to say about it. And my father always tell me, age is just a number. You could be 50 years old, but you don't, you can't even reflect on your life. All you have at that age is regret, for example, right? But it's never about the numbers, because you could be 40 years old now, but the 20 years old might experience more of life compared than you, because one decided to go beyond. So it's never about the age. I think it's very important for the young people to stop count. For me, at least for me, I don't know if it works for any of you, but for me, I stopped counting my age already. It stops when
You're
it's
still
20.
counting. You're
Yeah,
still
so
counting at 20. Okay.
yeah, so I stopped in
I
20.
think I should have stopped at 16, man.
That works too, yeah. But for me, yeah. But the mindset of putting numbers into your experiences, to me, it doesn't work that way. And because your life, you choose to grow, and age is just numbers, just as the same as years lah. It's just a macam, like, how to put it, like a timeline, a framework that you want to work with. But it's not so much of reflecting who you are in person. Yeah. So that's how I walk through it lah. Yeah. I don't know about the others, about Janisa. Maybe you want to add more.
Patrick, do you want to repeat that first or?
Okay, let me go first. So maybe I would like to share again regarding to Dr. Resume Services. Yeah. Hope you don't feel bored about it. Yeah, right. So initially when I started, right, there are a lot of people and come to ask about, oh, who is the speaker, and they found out that, oh, you are Patrick is a speaker. Yeah, then they will deep through and ask about, oh, what is your qualification. Then in the end of the day they found out that, oh, you're just a student, so they choose not to join the workshop, right? And guess what? After my few workshop, and maybe third workshop or fourth workshop, and they found out that the reviews from the past participants was quite good, right? And they will join in the future workshops. And I found out that, oh, why don't you trust me at first? And in the end of the day, then only you trust me. So as in, why you don't give a person a chance before you judge him, right? So this is what I think. You need to show your prove your results to people before you want to talk to them. So that is why I think, if let's say you want to try out something new, maybe you need you need to have some confidence to work with comments, because we cannot assure that everyone supports you because different people have different perspective, right? So I would say be confident is the most important thing to win the race.
Mm. Mm. Have you had any people actually question you about your age when you were conducting
Yeah,
your training?
yes. They before they register the workshop, they all come to so-called text me on LinkedIn. Oh, who is the speaker? Then I will just say, oh, I'm the speaker. Then they say, oh, I will consider about it. So whenever they say something like this, I know what they are going to do next, meaning that they're not going to join. So and maybe in the
Oh.
next month or next 2 months, I host the workshop again, and they'll come and ask, oh, is there any empty seats? I would like to join your workshop. So it's like the
Oh.
same person that he rejected you, and he came back to
Yeah.
you again. So this is what
Wow.
I found out, that why don't you trust a person before you judge him?
That's a
Yeah,
good point. That's a very good point. Let
yeah,
let your let your work speak for itself. And I think
yeah,
this is true on so many accounts, regardless of your age, right?
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So
Mm.
because I would say as a student, no one will listen to you. But the only way you can let people to listen you is through results. That is what I
Mm.
found out throughout the journey.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a great
Yeah.
Interesting.
point.
Interesting.
How about Delisha? I am curious about your
Yeah.
story.
So Sharon started off the question with, what if you have someone older coming up to you and telling you that, I have more experience, why should I listen to you? I think the best
Yeah.
thing for you to do is just smile and tell them, if you're that age and you are not able to do it, then you watch me do it now.
Wow.
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 I always find it to be very interesting when people who are older question younger ones to
Yeah.
what their credibility are. Because if you have spent this amount of years on planet Earth, Why do you question people who are
Yeah.
trying to do better, especially because just because they're younger? That means you should actually take a
Wow.
look at yourself. That's very wrong, But also, of course, I am saying this as how I've understood things along, the whole journey. But as a starter, I always think it's very important that people need to understand that it's your journey, no matter what
Mm,
happens. You are always going to
that's
have a
true.
lot of people out there doing better things than you do. Because when you wake up,
Yeah.
that's just how reality is in the world. But you're only answerable to one person because it's your journey. You fail your exam. You don't make money. You come back home
Mm,
crying. You succeed.
yeah.
It's still your
Yeah.
journey. And I
Mm,
think how that whole age thing came about, I started off being very insecure. I would always apologize. I used to start
mm,
sentences with, I'm really sorry for pointing out my opinion because I may seem undereducated here. I used to start sentences that way all the time.
okay.
But after a while, I started realizing that no, if at all, if I have to sit down and speak to people who are older than I am, and yes,
Mm,
of course, I do sound older than myself. I don't think, even if at all that is a thing for most people or some people who don't really sound their age or any of that, that's secondary. The fact that you can actually appreciate or school people older than you, that's your
mm,
customer. So along the way, of course, I still get it, even if at all, if I were to speak on certain topics whenever I have forums,
mm,
whenever I'm very much leaning towards the corporate side of things, I still have people with a lot more experience than I do that are constantly around me. But to me, it's very simple. Like I said, back to point number one of how we started the whole session, everyone has something to offer. And if the older one can't appreciate that, that just means
mm,
that it's sad on your journey as compared to it's sad on my journey because you're not having
mm,
mind to even understand that the younger ones have more to
mm,
school on as compared to what you think you already know.
Mm.
mm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very deep,
Yeah.
definitely. And I mean, I love
I
that
sound
you
like
guys
some
know
yogi
that.
here. This is not even me being myself. I don't know. Everything sounds very spiritual. I don't know, but whatever that I'm actually sharing here, it
That
makes
is the
sense to a lot of
process of
people. Yeah.
awakening, right? I believe that's the process of awakening when we really wake up, right? There's certain
Mm,
things we discover, and sometimes we don't just look at ourselves alone, and we start looking at how we kind of make up that
mm,
space in the world, how we are contributing towards it. And it's not just us anymore where we feel like, oh yeah, I better not say this, I better not say that. That's when you start also kind of believing in who you are and what you can
mm,
give to the world. When you kind of start to figure out your purpose in as in why you are even living, why are you here, and you start exploring it. And I think that is really an amazing journey. And I love what you guys said about all these statements. And I think Husna is very lucky that she's got very, very supportive parents. I did as well, so I was very lucky that way. But it's just that I was in an industry that was very new to lecturers who are young. Of course, like I mentioned to some of you before, right? When I joined lecturing, everyone had white hair. I mean, that's how it was. I was in my 20s and everyone had white hair with like 4 5 kids. And here you come, this, I mean, those of you who've seen me in real life offline, right? I'm really short, so that didn't help as well. And I look young, So, I walk around like, huh? This one is going to teach us. I remember I had a class where I was teaching high school teachers. I'm sorry, high school teachers. You guys are the worst sometimes to be students. Like 100 of them and they looked at me like, huh? This kitty monyet going to teach us? Really? Like, you should have seen their expression. But what Frankie said is true, right? It's just that we need to just believe in ourselves and just do it. And sometimes you stand there, and I remember playing back that same impression I think they have of me back at them. I was like, I know, I look really tiny, and probably you think, what is she going to teach us about anything? And I told them, don't worry, I'm not here to teach you. I'm just here to share with you something, just to like take off that pressure of,
my
you know,
way.
yeah, I was
I
trying to
think
be smart.
But I think most important, I think, and this is something that I actually usually tell my students as well, that it is really showcasing that confidence that you have when you do that thing. That actually justify whether will the person actually will sit and listen to you, even though if you are young. Because a lot of times I see it, a lot of students, what they do is when they say, oh, introduce yourself to this person, and they do like, hello, I'm a student, I'm just a student, I'm just a student. You
As a
know,
student.
yeah. So you see the way you structure your sentence, you just because you put yourself in such a low self-esteem state, right? That the person wouldn't take you seriously in the next sentence that you say. If you go there, approach, hey, I'm a student, I'm going to graduate soon, but I'm doing in this field and I'm interested in this. The way you showcase yourself, that shows the confidence that I know what I'm talking about and I'm here to learn from you, then it gives people to say that, hey, I have to take you seriously because it seems like you're taking yourself very seriously as well. So I think it's just the way of you bringing yourself to showcase your confidence. I think age is really not the thing that's stopping you. It's just the way that you build your confidence when you showcase yourself to the person will actually just justify whether should the person treat you
Yeah.
seriously or not, I think.
I would like to
Yeah.
add to that point. I
Yeah.
think as a student or individuals, before we
Yeah.
showcase it to the world, right? The most important thing is to own it first.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
sometimes, well, we are good at like makeup. It's everything so good, but if we don't own it, people can see right through you. So as
Mm.
personally, I feel that we need to own that and find that within you first, and then
Mm.
eventually it will come natural to you to showcase it to the world. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll
yeah.
be my
Because I'm sure even like for example, if Patrick is doing his resume, I'm sure on the stage when he's teaching people about resume, he's confident, He's like, I know what I'm talking about, That's why I'm
Yeah.
here standing and telling you what you're saying, So when people listen to it, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, how can I never think about that?
Yeah. You need to be
It
confident.
generates. Yeah, it generates, it shows the vibe, that a person that, hey, oh, so I know this person seems to know their stuff, It's not like I'm really just here just to tell you, just to say, I'm just trying this out, You show that you know stuff, then people will actually take you seriously. I think that's actually very important, that most of the, I mean, I started off looking young, looking young. I don't even know whether am I young, but looking young. But a lot of people, seem to, and I don't want that to stop me from how people sees me. So that's why usually, and I don't like. I know because Cheryl has that very bad, because she started off lecturing very young. So, like she said, a lot of people are white hair. So because of that, she tends to dress down. Tends to dress older.
Dress
So
old.
she tends to dress also that people will see that she looks older. And I don't do that because for me, I feel that, I'm my age. I should be dressing my age, or I like to dress how I like to dress because I want to look good. And I don't really want that to stop me just to have people think that, oh, just because you're young, you don't know things. Every time when I come to a class, I have to ensure to show that, hey, I'm here because there is a reason why I'm here. And there's a reason why I'm standing here and telling you things instead of me sitting down and listening to you instead. So that I
Guys,
think it's important.
I thought people who, when I first started, I thought people who were almost 13, 14 years older than me. And it really helped at that point of time because things were very different. Like now, if you walk into any university, you've got 20-year-olds teaching you.
Yeah,
Like
that,
English
yeah,
teachers, there are 20-year-olds teaching you, and there's so many
yeah.
of them. So it's kind of started to being accepted. But back when I started, which was 2000 and oh my God, now you
Don't
don't
reveal the age. Don't. Hey,
2005,
stop.
2006, right? There were no young people. I was the young one, and it didn't help that I was extremely short, you see. So I couldn't lie through my age. And yeah, but like what Yi says at the beginning, I really didn't believe in myself. So to help me, I dressed old for the longest time, and people are trying to look young, and here you got someone who's trying to look old. I used to wear these blazers because the moment I carry my laptop bag, I look like a college kid. And I remember one student was trying to hit me up in college back then in Olympia College, and I was like, I'm like your lecturer. He looked at me like, yeah, whatever. Until I went into class and started teaching, then I mean, it's like his soul left his body. He was afraid, but that's the thing, right? When you're young, sometimes which brings me to my next question, right, guys? I mean, we've gone on a real like a positive side of it, and we talked about a lot of positive attributes. I want to dive it down a little, and I want you guys to bring me to a moment where you felt like giving up, right? What was that moment like, and how did you kind of conquer those fears to come back up? Because I'm sure on your journey, right, there has been moments like that. I mean, I've had those moments when I did my masters, for example. I was like, huh? What makes you think you can do your masters? Are you crazy? I was telling myself that at one point, and then I had to pick myself. So what was those moments for you when you were going through this journey, right? I leave it to you all how detailed you want to go or how much you want to share, because it might be very personal as well. But the important part is we want to know, just give us an idea of the moment and how did you come back up? Because I think a lot of people, like I said, see the really pretty side of things and they don't see that how do you come back up. And I think that's really important for our viewers to hear. Now we've got complete silence.
You would like me to go first?
So
Yeah.
so maybe let me go first.
Yeah, sure.
Yay!
Yeah. So I would say there are two things that two two platforms. I mean, one is LinkedIn and one is my girlfriend that actually keep on supporting me. So I started with LinkedIn first. So for LinkedIn, LinkedIn people are quite supportive. I am not sure if you're aware of it. Regardless of what post I post, they will keep on commenting the positive things. So they keep on pushing me to my limits that I want to try something new. Like when I first started the workshop, I mean back in March that time, I started the first workshop and I posted on LinkedIn, and they said, "Oh, keep on going, keep on growing." So whenever they post these kind of positive comments, you will get motivated. You'll keep on saying that, "Oh, you can do it." So that is why it's one of the platform that I got motivation from. And another one is actually my girlfriend. She's actually one of the so-called hot seller on Instagram, where she actually sells something on live. I mean on Instagram, she sells the cosmetics for girls. So she's quite a successful person that sells those products on Instagram. So I keep on taking her as one of my so-called motivation, because she has her own business which is quite successful as compared to me. I have nothing. So I've tried to do my best to try to get on with Doctor Resume Services. That is why I keep on motivating my. That is why this is actually quite motivating myself throughout my journey to ask me to keep on striving for my best.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wow. So he has an idol that he have to look up to, lah.
yeah, something like that. I would say this is actually my target lah. Yeah.
Wow. I think your girlfriend must be doing pretty well then.
I so okay lah. Yeah.
Okay. Jalisa, anything to add?
Okay, to take that question, it was, I apologize. I'm just going to recap on the question, yeah? It was, how do you actually deal when you had like a really bad time? Is it?
Yeah,
Or
when you felt like giving up, right? How
yeah,
did you?
okay, so I had two different things that basically had like a 360 change and a transformation. Was the first time when it happened to me was when I felt like I never looked good enough. It was an insecurity which was so bad to a point where I am 45 kg. I eat clean. I know for a fact if I wake up, I would not be having an issue with clothing or whatever ideologies that people have. But in my mind, I could not understand or digest that because I just never felt like I was good enough. So in order to come out of that, what I actually did is, and I still do it until today, look the part. That's it. If I have to wake up and doll myself up, and if I take 20 minutes to get my hair and my makeup, or even to walk out with my stilettos, as much as it's not the most comfortable thing, that is what I would actually do. Because the vision of how I picture myself wanting to be that person that gets the jobs, that gets things done, is exactly that. And it's come to a point where it has turned into such a discipline that I'm very, very thankful that now it comes to me as, if I have a job, if I have to take any sort of thing, even if I'm unsure of any forum that I'm part of, I know for a fact that this is what I'm going to do, and this is like my game hat on. So that was basically what I had to really force myself into doing. And people would say, "You're crazy. Why would you do that? Be yourself. Be yourself." People don't realize this, that sometimes being yourself, it's not your best self,
Yeah,
and
I agree 100%.
very, very sad because it's a pretentious uh, society. It's a pretentious way of, oh, why would I think that you're great? What do you bring to the table? You don't even look the part. Why should I throw you on TV with thousands and millions of viewers? Which is very sad for me to actually, think about. But that over time also helped me believe that this is what I want to be. This is what I should be doing, even in the tiniest ways. So that was one. The second thing that I think was one of the experiences where I shared it over on my Instagram as well because it was such a dark moment that I was supposed to start reading news. This was in one of the local channels, and it turned out, I don't want to mention the name of the channel, but it turned out being such an ugly thing that came about throughout the whole thing because um, it was me getting into the whole game of the training. Everything was there, but the last part of it, of being thrown onto what TV to read the news, did not happen because it was just crushed into something else where the producer put themselves forward and not me. So it was a clear cutting of sabotaging, whatever they want to label it as. And what I did after that was that it took me exactly 7 months. It was a lot of tears, a lot of pain, a lot of other stuff that came about where I think relationships, I was started to like burn bridges which I shouldn't even have burnt in the first place. It was really just me being genuinely human about things. But in that 7 months, what I did was that I if I looked at it this way, if at all in a country where I'm actually born in the same place which I think that I should be getting opportunities, they're not giving me that. So do it elsewhere. I started traveling and then I went over to Sri Lanka and I managed to actually secure myself a job in a news channel where I was, given the freedom to actually go into looking into every prospect from their channel managers, from the news readers, into everything. And I did not take the job up. The only reason I did that was because I wanted to tell myself that look, even if one person doesn't let you have it, remember 10 other people still would. So it was that thing which I had to make sure no one was going to help you. No one is going to come up to you and tell you, look here, it's okay, I'll give you a job, do this, do this, do that. No, no, no. It really goes down to if you fail, you need to find it on a different place because some people always get this wrong. You fail 3 times. No, it's okay. You'll get up on the fourth time. You won't. You'll only get up on the fourth time if you fix the 3 times that you go wrong with. So
That's a
that was
very good point.
so that was actually the steps that I actually took along the way, and it was just basically to feed myself with enough of energy to come back and to explore things and come back of that mental state that I was in. And it turned out being really good because today, whenever I have got people who are younger that come up to me and tell me, Jalissa, I want to be on TV, this and that, I always tell them, look here, you may be good at what you do. You're much more probably smarter or educated than people, but always remember you have to look out for yourself. And if you're going wrong with something, fix it. Fix it in the way. I love to do quick fixes like that. If you don't think you look good enough, go to the gym every day. In fact, I think I want to believe that I'm healthy enough being under 50 kgs, but I still wake up every single week, even if it's minimum 3 times, you would see me at the gym at 7:30 because it's not so much of how I look, it's the discipline that comes with it. So it's the little things like this that really, really push me to actually be however I had pictured myself to make sure I go for whatever that I think I deserve. So yeah.
Mm, mm. It's the self-discipline, I think. Actually, that's very
Self-discipline, very, very
important.
important.
Yeah.
Some people always overlook. They say, no, it's the small things. Doesn't matter, go for the bigger stuff. But it's really the small things that actually builds up everything in your mind that whatever the
Yeah.
task that you have, you're going to be
Yeah.
fine because you fixed everything. In your mind, you know you're not going wrong. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This
Very
re-
important.
this reminds sorry.
Yes,
This
Husna.
reminds me of Nicole. Sorry, am I lagging? Or what? Okay, so I think that part reminds me of what Nicole David shared to us in Monza. She said to be a number one champion, world champion, is something that you have to earn every single day,
Every day. Yeah.
every single day.
If you're
So
not there yet, you still have to do it. Doesn't matter.
yeah,
There's no,
Yeah,
no,
consistency.
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Julissa. I love that. I love that point. Okay. So on my end, if I were to share my story, my down moment or the moment that it really get me was during my final semester. I was handling two events before I go for my internship. I was handling two big events. At that time, I think I started to lose my basic daily function because I had mental instability at that point. But the point is that one of the events I was the producer for a lot of theater at that current time, and it involved a lot of money. So there's a constant pressure and stress at that time, and I was not having a very supportive surrounding at that current time. The bad decision that I made during those times, people said things that time really really challenged me in a way that it crushes me to the ground. And at that time, I do not have the guts to let go, you know. So I just take it on and I just, okay, you know what, by hook or by crook, I need to finish this, not knowing that it will crash me to the ground and shattered me like crazy, you know. And I really lose my basic daily function. To be honest, I took a time away from people. I do not go out, and even for my internship, I go for a smaller role because at that time I was afraid of myself, and I was like telling myself, when will I screw up the next one? You know, because you are constantly in that position of people telling you are not good enough, you're not going to do well, you know, you're going to screw up the next one. Every time you make a decision, people question you, against you, right? So when you are put in a constant position of that, like constantly, right? And I had a severe depression at that time and anxiety. So it creates that belief system in me telling myself that, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, and maybe I will screw up the next thing that I commit myself to. You know, so everything that came, eventually it will screw up. Why? Because I have that belief system that's saying to me, you will screw up, right? One thing that changed that, I think this is very important. As much as we are talking about self-discipline, having a support system and what you put into your mind, what you consume every day through your eyes, through your ears, is very important.
Very
Yeah, it's very, very important. So first, I think if I want to put it into out there, pay attention to who you surround yourself with. What are the topics that you're talking or discussing with your friends? What are the books that you're reading? What are the things that you are consuming from Instagram, for example, right? It looks simple, again, like how Jalisa shared just now. It's the small little things that
Small
actually
little
plays a
things.
big role into what you are achieving. If you want to be successful, or whatever the definition successful is to you, there is no other way. There is no other way, but you need to be consistent. And there is no other way of, oh, I wanted to be negative, but in the same time I want to be successful. You just need to be committed to that. It's there already. The script is there, and all you need to do is, okay, follow through, believe in yourself, have a good support system, have a good circle of friends, and then you are good to go. Yeah,
very
I think
nice.
that's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That what helped me lah to go out of my depression. Of course, it's gonna take a long time, and I think one thing
yeah.
that you need to understand, that you're not. It's not you're not good enough. You are just early in the process. You know, people might say, oh, you're not good because they have done it. But you just discover, oh, this is one way of going out of it. And there is nothing wrong to be early in the process. You just need to have a group of friends, or you need to have a group of support system to tell you that it's okay. Now you have done this. What's next? Now comes the strategy part. What's next? Like what we just shared again just now. Fix it. How?
Yeah.
Now it comes the strategy part. Yeah. But first, I think look into yourself, look within yourself, and then look around you. You, as if you want to be successful, you don't have a choice, but you need to wake up again and do it. Take it or leave it, lah. You know. So we don't have a choice.
It's a journey lah. It's a progression lah, because definitely the whole journey that you're going through, there's definitely going to be hurdle. And I think actually it's quite good that the earlier you face this, the better, because the earlier you face this, then you know how you can get through with this, then
Yeah.
it's easier for you to move on and get better with it actually.
But also quite an important note is that as much as yes, everybody goes through moments like this, it's important to acknowledge the fact that
Yes.
everyone's
That's
journey
true.
is different. One is not consumed for tragedy. Very, very important to actually think about. A lot of people, whenever they talk about their success, whenever they talk about their work, or whenever they talk about their journey per se, whatever that they actually are wanting to imply, it's always going to be, oh, but I went through such depression, and also because life was tougher for me in this way. And then you have
Yeah.
a person who probably has got a slight mild depression that is coming off, and then they start to take a step back and to think, oh, it's nothing because you look at what other people are doing. So acknowledging that also very important, because we live in a society where people are always having an ideology from
Yes.
competing tragedy.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
very
Yeah, yeah.
sad.
They've
Yeah.
always feel that
That's a
their
good
case is
point.
actually their case
Yeah.
is always much more
My issue
serious
is
than
worse
other
or more
people kind
severe.
of way. Yeah, my
But
Correct.
husband.
we
Oh,
want to
yeah,
be able
yeah,
to acknowledge it the way their journey is, as what Husna actually said, right? Whether your
yeah,
partner came
yeah.
from an event or anything, or even if it's a mom with three kids at home,
Mm.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everything at the end of the day starts here, yeah. Your perspective,
Yeah.
right? What you
Yeah.
feed your mind, everything
Yeah.
starts here. You see, what you think about yourself starts here.
Yes.
Before someone can say something to you and say, "Hey, you're fat,"
Yeah.
for it to
Yeah.
register as hurtful,
Yeah.
it has to be
Yeah.
something you yourself think. Then it
Yeah.
registers as hurtful.
I think I
But of
want to
course,
add.
it's a
Sorry.
process. Yeah.
I
Go
think
ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to add like last one because I as I mentioned I had a severe depression and anxiety. What helped me because I didn't go to like to therapies because I always tell myself I can go through this. Why I can do such is because at that time I am aware that I am in that position, and also because I have the basic knowledge of mental illness. So and then I started to read more and understand more myself, and then I started to look at my pattern. At least for me, I have a pattern like every how many weeks or every if I work too hard and then it will come. So then I started to learn and I overcome it by then. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think to understand yourself and to have the knowledge of
Very
it is
important.
But I think most important, yeah, acknowledging it is very important.
Awareness.
Once you
Yeah.
acknowledge, yeah,
Yeah.
once you acknowledge, then only you know how to find the way
Yeah.
to, find a solution for it. Because if you don't acknowledge it, then that's where it's getting a bit worrisome. Because if you ignore it, then it's going to make it
I
more
mean,
harder
how
for you
do
to
you
deal.
solve a problem if you don't know you have a problem? Right?
You
Yeah.
How do
don't
you
feel
solve a
like it.
problem? You don't know you have a problem.
Yeah,
You're not aware of it. You're not
yeah,
self-aware. So, like
yeah.
Husna said, I'm not aware, but I know, right? And most of us are only treating we're not going to the root cause. But if you're able to be aware, hey, these are the symptoms. When I start doing this or when this starts happening, I know I'm going towards that journey and I don't want to get there. Like, I mean, there are
Mm.
days you just wake up and you feel down. Don't ask
Yeah.
me why. You just
Yeah.
feel down. So you just get up and you don't know what's going on. You just feel like everything is blue, and you're like, I have nothing to be blue about. I don't know why, but it's coming from within. And
you're
you can
being
either
human.
Yeah.
yeah,
I would say we need to understand ourselves because different people
yeah,
have a different solution. As in, if let's say like Husna, you have a different solution to solve this problem. As if let's say the same problem comes to me, I might
Yeah.
have a different way of solving this problem.
exactly.
So the first
Mm.
thing is you need to understand yourself, and you
Mm.
have to be mentally strong. And because people are going to put you down, because you in this world is actually quite competitive, right? We cannot deny
Yeah.
that the fact everyone is going to compete with each
Yeah,
other.
yeah,
So the
agree.
re- so we need to be strong and understand ourselves to see
Mm.
what is our weakness and how can we overcome it in order for us to stand out among all of the others. And of course, the reason behind this, the reason I share this is because if let's say you unable to fight through yourself, meaning that you don't have your own confidence to fight through people's, meaning that you unable to win the race. Because in order for you to win the race, you need to be confident first. The first stage is to make yourself confident and let yourself to know what you're going to do next. That is what I think.
That's great points. And I think to sum up this question, right? I think end of the day, competition is important, but you should compete with yourself.
Yes, that's true.
Compete with
Yeah.
yourself. Compete
100%.
with yourself.
100%. Yeah.
And understand that your progress, and sometimes it's good to
Yeah.
even write down, hey, this is where I was, this is where I am.
Yes.
If because we don't see our own progress, we don't see that
True.
little milestones that we've gone through. We always imagine that, hey, I've not really done anything, but if you really go
Yeah.
back and look, you've done
Yes.
amazing things,
Yeah.
but you don't note it down, so you don't realize. So sometimes if I look at myself 2 years ago where I was, I mean, in a way, thank God for I mean, not Facebook, but thank God for sometimes you have things that remind you of where you were before, and sometimes even bad things, right? Sometimes I look at Facebook, say about 4 or 5 years ago, and I see what I wrote. I'm like, who was that? That wasn't me. Why would I say such a thing? It's so childish. And it helps you, the bad things as well as good things help you see progress in yourself. And we are coming towards the end of our show. I don't know, you
Mm.
guys are just amazing. Your energy is crazy, right? And
Yeah.
I haven't realized the time passing, but
Passing so fast.
it's just gone like that. But
I
we
know.
have to wrap up. So I want to take us to this last question, which I feel is important in a sense, right? I feel it's really important, and I like asking this kind of questions. If I gave you guys a reset button, right, that allows you to reset time, okay, say to the beginning of your maybe your first year as a student, right? What message would you send yourself with what you know now?
If there's a reset button, yeah,
If
to bring you back.
I would love to answer that.
Oh, I would also love to answer that.
go ahead. I'm
Go ahead.
excited to hear from all of you. I love this kind of questions, and sorry, I like to ask them.
Jelisa, you can start first.
Yeah.
I
What
can
was
see
the
the
reset
sparks.
button? Yeah. If I was given the pleasure of a restart button when I was a student, I would love to tell 18-year-old Jalesa, for whatever rules that I broke, for every single convention that I went against, for every person that I probably put up a battle with, I wish I was bolder and I wish that I could do it 10 times harder.
Mm.
Warrior woman. I should connect you with.
So
I
sorry
should
that
connect you
as
with
much
this
as I
coach
want to be a
Veronica.
person who is, well mannered and to do things with a lot of grace as well as principles, but sometimes certain things have to be, addressed. Certain people have to be put into their place in order for, a better journey for everyone.
Yeah.
All the little battles that I tried to actually win, I really wish I put up better and stronger fights. So yeah.
Mm.
Warrior
Mm.
woman. I
Mm.
love that.
Yeah.
I think you should connect to this power coach in LinkedIn called Veronica. What do you call it? Veronica Osu. She's like you, an African version of you.
Really?
Yeah, she's a warrior.
African
She's just a warrior. You should check her out. You know what I mean.
Okay. But I'm one of those that has got fake nails, yeah. So I don't get my hands dirty. It's always just what I say and what I want done.
Amazing.
Next,
Okay. Next, let's go
Patrick.
ahead.
Patrick.
Patrick.
Okay. Okay, so let me go for this. So if let's say I have a chance to flashback, I would say I want to go back to maybe I will start this earlier. I mean, all the doctor resume services journey. I will start this earlier because I started like my final semester. I would say it's not too late, but if let's say I have a chance to reset, I will start it earlier because I
Mm.
can help more people throughout my journey. True, if let's
Yeah.
say I started in first year, I might learn more things because of that I started in final year. I have a shorter journey to to catch up all the knowledge and so on. If let's say I have a chance to flashback everything, I would say I will start in my first year. But of course, the
Mm.
problem I'm going to face will be much more different as compared to what I started in final year. Because if let's say I started this in first year, then they're going to question me as a first year student. How can you qualify yourself to teach me all this kind of knowledge? Yeah,
Hey, who? Hey, you can prove it. I'm sure you will have another way of handling it by then. I'm sure. I'm sure.
I don't know. Maybe if let's say I have a chance to flashback to my first year.
It's interesting. Who's not? Yes.
Okay, so for me, I think the first thing that I would want to do is to hug her and look her in the eye and tell her that she is the strongest person that I've ever met and I've ever lived within. And also another thing is that I would love to tell myself that you have the package to be successful. You have it all. All you need to do is go into it, be confident, and be yourself. Yeah,
Mm.
that'll be
Mm.
it. Yeah.
Mm.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's very nice. Wow. If I would like to restart myself, I would definitely have a lot to say, but maybe it's not today. Not for me to answer it today. Okay, Cheryl, yes, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much, everyone, for
I think
taking
we
Sure.
the
had
time.
an
I
amazing
think we
time.
Very nice.
really
Thank you
learned,
so much.
we really learned a lot today. I
Yeah, I
must
learned a lot
admit,
also.
right?
Yeah, me
And
too. I learned a lot.
I
Thank you.
find that
Very good.
yeah, yeah, I find that there's a lot of interesting, I think you guys set a very good example to, I mean, definitely a very good benchmark for a lot of potential or current students who are currently, going through probably the same thing or are striving to achieve where you are at right now. I think the same thing goes. It's like it's never too late, and I think having you all to share some of your experiences with them would definitely give them a better ground in knowing how to approach their issues as well. Cheryl, anything to add on?
So we most probably are going to have the next show, which is the Me series, next Wednesday.
Fingers
We
crossed.
are still trying to confirm our speakers at the
Yeah.
moment. So
So
if
we're
all
not going
goes
to share
well,
anything yet. We're not going to share what's to come next for the next me series. But
but
yeah,
there's a chance we're going to be looking at data analytics. So
mm,
watch out for
yeah,
that. Follow myself or Yee's LinkedIn.
mm,
I've also shared Patrick, Husna, and Jalisa's contact during the
mm,
show as well as on YouTube. So you can actually see their contacts and you can go look them up on LinkedIn and contact them if you guys want to speak to them. I hope that's okay with three of you. Yeah. I think
mm,
you all have really inspired a lot of our viewers today. You've inspired us. And
yeah.
I think even one of my students was like, you should call Patrick to come to class, you know. So I said to her, what do you think I'm doing right now, right? Isn't that what doing in class?
I
You
think
know,
you'll be good. I mean, I think it is a very good opportunity as well for anyone for sharing your LinkedIn as well. That perhaps you can actually build as a good mentorship as well for anyone who's probably looking for one to give them a better guidance, because I think you guys are really giving up very good
yeah.
advices, and I think your experiences really does show that there's possibilities that they can actually learn very much from as well. So please be open to mentor, if
Yeah,
there's any,
yeah, sure.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
You
It's
didn't
like,
give
hey,
them much of a choice, did
who
you?
say, who, who say mentors has to be old? Who say mentors has to be old, right?
Yeah, well, I would like to add on
Yeah,
something. I'd like to add on
yeah.
something. Is it okay? Give
Yes,
me 2 minutes to add
yes,
on this thing.
yes,
I want to
sure.
share one of my experience. I just for your information, for all the audience of information, I'm actually from a Chinese school for both primary and secondary school, and my native language is
Oh,
Mandarin. I totally don't speak
yo.
English at all at home, and you guys what? My English was really bad when I first started in university, and I can't even speak fluently, and I am very nervous whenever I have all those kind of presentations. And I would like to advise all the students, right? If let's say you have such problem as what I used to face, be confident and try to practice more, because you never know any day, any time you can be fluent as me, because I never expect I can speak such fluent in front of the camera. Because just imagine
Yeah, yeah.
flashback to my first live. If let's say you have a chance, you ask those participants who joined my first live, it was terrible because I can't even
Can you share with us the link?
I, unfortunately, I don't think I have a live link up yet. But if let's say you have, because it was such a terrible, because I can't look at the camera to speak fluently. That's what a students face. So if let's say you are a student and you have similar problem as me, try to practice. It definitely you can definitely overcome this problem. Yeah.
Patrick, seriously, because I'm so sorry. Maybe it's the stereotypical me or to think it, because when you first say you're from Penang, right? My first thought is, oh, his English is pretty good.
No, I'm
I
from
was like,
Chinese school. I'm both Chinese,
oh, so I
both
was
primary
like,
and secondary school.
you're from Chinese
Look
ed,
at
because
how
my
Yeah.
you
understanding is,
stand up.
yeah,
You
yeah,
are an amazing conversationalist. It's not just how well you master the
yeah,
language, but how you have
yes.
in this whole
Mm.
session. I spent 1 hour 40 minutes here with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Seriously, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have thought that you were actually, like, you say that you have had your primary school and secondary school in the Chinese education, because I wouldn't have thought about it. Your English is actually very good.
No,
Actually,
no.
we are,
I used
we
to
are
be
very
very bad,
lucky of you,
I
if you
still
all
remember
realize.
I just still remember my foundation that time when my first semester I started. There was so-called English one class for all the foundation students in my university,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
had the presentation, and you know what happened was actually, I can't speak at all in front of in front of people, in front of all the students in the class, and I was like
Oh.
keep on stop halfway, and I need to think what I need to speak for next sentence. This is what I was 5 years ago, and I would
Mm-hmm.
say practice helps a lot. And during these 5 years of university, they actually helped me to bring up these skills, so-called communication skills. So if let's say any student you have such problem, right, practice, speaks more to your lecturer, then you can definitely you can definitely ace these skills.
Yeah,
I think
very
they're trying
good.
to
Good.
run away now. Guys, it's been such a great journey with you guys. So we're gonna wrap up, and just to leave you guys with one thing, I think end of the day, right? Feed your mind with the right thing, and stay true to yourself and explore. I think these are some of the nuggets that we got today from our young, brilliant minds here, and I'm so happy and I'm so proud of you guys, even though you're not my students. I will steal a bit of from your lecturers or all your mentors a little bit from there. I feel so proud of all of you, and
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
For having
Thank
me.
you
And
so much for sharing.
thanks a lot.
So let's say
Yeah.
goodbye to the audience. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thanks. Bye.